everything like that. And we're back on YouTube. That's cool. Yes, thank you. I am back streaming on YouTube, so that's where I'm back. Yes, so I got my purple belt and I'm eating some cheesy potatoes, and fuck it, we ball. People were like, did it glitch on YouTube? Yes, it glitched on YouTube. It just randomly cut out, and I don't know. I definitely need to upgrade from a MacBook Air to literally anything else. So who knows? Which belt am I in at BJJ? I am now a purple belt. So I'm beating the sponsored blue belt woman allegations now, because before, when I was a sponsored white belt and sponsored blue belt, a lot of people were like, oh my God, like, learn BJJ first. I was like, I'm trying. So here I am. I am now a purple belt. So I'm incredibly excited to purple belt it up and do more at purple belt and keep this momentum rolling. I have so many fun things coming in 2025. I'm incredibly excited about like the rest of the year. I have a bunch of competitions planned coming up. I am already on I'm doing the Jiu-Jitsu World League in Anaheim. I have a couple more sponsors coming up that should help with my content and figure all that stuff out. So it's incredibly exciting. You guys will see all the different things that I'm up to. Thank you for the congratulations. Thank you to who sent the heart on over there on TikTok. I love it when you guys send gifts. On YouTube, you guys could send super chats. That has the same effect. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a ton with my channel, and it helps me keep making content, because when I don't get enough gifts, I consider getting a job. So that's a struggling food. How's this a struggling food? You guys are tripping right now. Somebody said that this is a struggle food. This is beans, Saison Goyo potatoes, avocado, green onions, sour cream, and mozzarella cheese. It's actually insane that I put all of these things together, but it's delicious. And this is definitely one of my cheat meals, because I'm not cutting weight for anything at the moment. So your girl's eating all the unhealthy things. Somebody said she eating with a plastic fork. I send them supers. That's mostly because I don't want to want to wash dishes. But yeah, send the super chats. Send help. For some reason, people think I'm rich. I only make like $2 to $3K a month. So let's help me change that. Yes, looks like homemade Chipotle. This is cheesy potatoes and bacon and beans and avocado and green onions and cream, sour cream. How long did it take me to get my purple belt? So I started grappling a couple weeks after I turned 21, and I recently turned 25. And so it took me about 3 years to get my purple belt. A lot of that time I was training like twice a day, especially in college when I was on the wrestling team and the jiu-jitsu team. I would wake up at 8, train 8 to 9, and then I would train again from 1 to 3, and then train again from 7 to 10 p.m. Not every day and not all the time, but that was like the set hours where I was training a lot. And anyway, that was so stressful. And now I wake up and I go train, and then sometimes I'll go hit night class or wrestling class or whatever. But anyway, I try to train twice a day, and I feel like that's a reason that I've gotten my purple belt within 3 years. Also, like my competition accolades and stuff like that. So I just like to preface that just so that no one thinks that that they're behind in their own journey because they haven't received like a purple belt or something within 3 years. I think that I have just been on my own journey, and I don't think that anyone should compare their journey to mine because we're different people, you know? Somebody said they're a thousandaire. They can fix that. I mean, I too am a thousandaire, but it's definitely like being a streamer and YouTuber is not for the weak because it just depends on how that month is. Some weeks you might make good money. Some weeks you might make $0. It just depends. Somebody said, "Am I a full-time martial artist?" Yes, I am. I'm a full-time. I consider myself a full-time like martial artist and content creator. Just because like content creation is how I make my money because jiu-jitsu itself does not really pay you. So making content itself is how I make my dollars. Somebody else said, how many injuries? My biggest injury was tearing my ACL, MCL, LCL, and meniscus all at the same time. That was incredibly terrible. I had a lot of mental anguish in that. It was bad. Somebody said I went to Corso High School. Yes, I went to Corso High School. Did you go to Corso High School? Somebody said, where is this streaming elsewhere? I'm also streaming on YouTube. So if I'm looking here, well, if I'm looking over here, this is where I see my YouTube chats. So if I'm looking here, I'm looking at YouTube. If I'm looking here, I'm looking at TikTok. And if I'm looking here, I'm looking at the camera for YouTube. There's a lot of situations happening on my screen right now because I have a webcam that's like separate because I just have an MacBook Air that I got in like the beginning of my college, like a 2021 MacBook Air. Somebody said, what was my hardest match? Actually, my hardest match was okay, like hardest match that I won and hardest match that I lost are like two different matches. But hardest match that I won lately was when I went to IBJJF Worlds last week, which is why you guys didn't catch me on live. I went to IBJJF Worlds last week and I lost my points in the quarterfinals. So but you know, life goes on. And my second match was so hard. It was I think that there's 6-minute rounds. I knew beforehand that this person was like going to jump guard and just like be super like jumpy and stuff. I knew that one of my coaches told me just like conserve energy and then just like look for the finish. So that's what I was just doing, is just conserving energy and being mindful of the guard jump. And I got guard jumped a lot, and ultimately in the last like 15 seconds, I'm trapped in closed guard. So I just reach through and lock in that choke, and then I'm able to like slide my hips out of the side when she starts reacting to the choke, and I get my hips to the side and finish that guillotine in the last like 5 seconds of the match. It was crazy. My team was going wild, and their team was like, no. But you know, it is what it is. That match was super exciting, and it really tested like my endurance and stuff. Because like with that round specifically, my coaches told me that they think that I would have to grapple all 6 minutes and just try to tire her out. They thought that my gas tank would be better than like my competitor's gas tank, which ended up really messing me up for the quarterfinals. Like I was like, as soon as I get off the mat, I'm like throwing up and dry heaving. And then they're like, Taylor, you have to go on in 5 minutes. I'm like, please don't make me go on in 5 minutes. So it was such a hard like thing with my stamina. And that's one thing that I feel like I need to work on the most is my stamina, just because IBJJF Worlds just felt very winnable to me, but it was really like my own stamina that made me like know what I needed to work on specifically, because I didn't feel like anyone bested me in technique and strategy and game plan. I felt like my own enemy was myself and my cardio. So that was just something that I became very aware of in my shortcomings, and now I know to work on that. So my hardest match that I won was definitely that one. And no hate to her. She's an incredibly talented grappler. I just, knew I needed to work on my endurance and just like preserve energy and look for the finish. And that's what I ultimately did. But that ultimately was my downfall that led to me not being able to be as explosive as I would have liked to have been in my quarterfinals match. Somebody said, why didn't I join the wrestling team in high school? I was the only girl there because I grew up in not a very supportive household, and it would have been hard for me to play a sport at that time. Like super, super complex stuff. So, and I also didn't really have like an interest in wrestling in high school. That like came later, so that's why I never wrestled in high school. No, I'm not letting anyone join my life. Thank you. I started Jiu-Jitsu in 2021. So, and then I got my blue belt in this year, actually. I got my blue belt and purple belt in the same year. So it took me about 3 years to go from white belt to purple belt. And it also took me around 2 years to go from white belt to blue belt. So somebody said, ooh, somebody complimented my Can't Flog Nah sweater. Yes, I love Tyler the Creator and Earl Sweatshirt and the entire like Can't Flog Nah original like situation. I haven't been too into like some of the newer artists that they have on the lineup, but I hear that they have a lot of talent and promise. I'm just so set in my ways, like musically, that I just want to listen to the same songs that I listened to when I was like 15. However, Chromacopia is chef's kiss. I've been so obsessed with Chronocopia. Like that's been like the thing that I've been listening to the absolute most in my somebody says something funny on YouTube that I'm gonna address. That's what I've been listening to the absolute most. And somebody on YouTube said that I was in the Mean Girls clique in high school. Mean Girls don't wrestle. That is so funny. I'm so glad that I've glowed up to the point that you think that I would have been allowed in the Mean Girls clique, but I certainly would not have been allowed. I was like so emo, so goth. And in high school, if I wasn't using my phone to stream on TikTok, I would pull up a pic, but I've posted them on my Instagram before that I was like a huge emo kid. I had like the bangs, and then I had the bangs and I had like a pink peekaboo. So the underside of my hair was dyed bright pink, and I had a very thick eyeliner. So I guess it was more so that like emo girls don't want to mess up their eyeliner to wrestle was more the culprit in high school. And also like I just wasn't overly invested in sports, and I struggled with a lot of mental health issues that led to some interesting behaviors that wouldn't have been conductive to wrestling and that type of stuff. If you know, you know. Somebody said, did I get surgery for my MCL, ACL, LCL, meniscus situation? Yes, I did. And I posted some content around that, like on Instagram a few months ago. My medical bills were about $70,000. Insurance paid about $60,000 of it. But, that was absolutely insane. And I highlighted some of that on my Instagram. Go check it out. But yeah, the recovery from my ACL was extremely hard, grueling, and I feel like that was really the moment that I decided that I wanted to take my jiu-jitsu career seriously and make it not just like a hobby, but like a career. Because I was just laying there. They give you a lot of painkillers when you're getting surgery. So I was just laying there on a bunch of painkillers, watching Baki, and I was like, I'm gonna be Baki. So so I like that was like the moment that I was just like recovering from my knee injury and experiencing all that like pain and experiencing like that all I wanted to do was just get up and do jiu-jitsu. And that's when it became so much more than just a hobby for me. It made me extremely motivated. Four-eyed Sniper says, stop fighting before you get hurt. You are blocked for the negativity forever. never gonna see your comments again because you're now hidden. Bye. No, I think it's like, why are you joining a fighter YouTube and then telling them to stop fighting? Doesn't make sense. Somebody said, do I support the CEO on a liver? You know, I got a bunch of healthcare claims declined too, so I can't be too mad. I didn't even see any of that stuff because my vision got denied. Somebody said, am I ready for Christmas? I am ready for Christmas. I have a bunch of Christmas gifts for my loved ones that I am excited to wrap. Tomorrow, I'm going to go spend Christmas Eve with my boyfriend's family. And then on Christmas Day, I'm going to go spend Christmas with my family. And I'm incredibly excited. My family, we always play games on Christmas. So one thing that we do is you have to have like a real gift and then a gag gift, and they have to be wrapped. And we play White Elephant with that, to where like um my one of my uncles is a special ed teacher, and he had like he had a real gift and a gag gift, to where one of them was like a box full of the sculptures that his students have made, and then the other one was like a nice sweater. And so basically somebody ended up with a box of sculptures made by his students, or like a really nice sweater. And that was just something fun. Like for me, I put a bunch of I had like a hacky sack game as my real gift, and then the gag gift was like a bunch of like dog treats that were like kind of messed up, so it was funny. Oh my God, thank you, Brandon. Somebody on YouTube Live just dropped that super chat, and I really, really appreciate that. I am so incredibly grateful. I am thoroughly appreciative when you guys drop those super chats. It helps me continue my channel and able to do jiu-jitsu. Pretty much everything gets reinvested back into me doing jiu-jitsu, whether it be like, just me paying for like my health insurance premiums, or like my gym dues, my rash guards, my competitions and stuff like that, or hotel rooms for competitions. So I'm just all the way locked in and just doing my best to make it as a professional grappler. Whatever that looks like in 2025, I'm going to find out. So I appreciate that. Somebody said she took a pain pill. I do not do any substances ever. The only time I have ever done anything like that was during my knee surgery, in which it was medically necessary. So I don't even smoke weed. And like every 2 weeks, I'll just have like a bottle of wine type vibe. But I do not do any type of substances. Somebody says they hope I have a great Christmas. Thank you so much. I do hope that I'm on Santa's nice list. I've been trying my best to not be mean to people lately, and I think that I have been relatively successful. I'm going to pivot over to the TikTok people because I am seeing that I have a bunch of stuff. Will I compete in CJI in 2025? That's up to Craig Jones. I want to compete. I'm ready to compete in CJI. Craig Jones, just give me the invite. I'll show up. I'll face whoever. Just throw me that match and I will come through. So that's up to CJI's founders, Craig Jones. I'm certainly up to that. Somebody said, do I post my losses and recap any mistakes made? No. Why would I do that? I feel like the world is going to like bring me down enough that why would I help them? I don't see any pros in posting losing footage. Meanwhile, there's a ton of cons, and I'm simply not going to do that. And I would respect it more if people stopped asking for that, because I'm simply not going to do it. Like, I feel like the world is going to bring me down enough. I don't have to help them. My page is where I post my journey and my positivity, and I'm allowed to keep some things private. Like, just being a public figure does not mean that I have to share every single thing in my life. I will post what I want and what I'm comfortable posting. That's not something that I wanted. Somebody is being so mean and calling me a junkie, which is incredibly confusing considering that I don't do any substances. So I'm just going to hide that person. What else are you guys saying on arm wrestle? I like to arm wrestle. Do I do any hand grip training? Actually, yes. That is one of my biggest things that I am constantly trying to do and that I do relatively often is I have a grip strengthener that I'm constantly like gripping as I'm driving, as I'm watching TV, as I'm rewatching Twilight for the 30th time. I will just use my hand grip strengthener. At least like I try to do it like twice a week. This is something that I relatively started doing and I realized that my forearms were like burning out. It would like get my arms really tired. So I realized that I needed to start using a grip strengthener to like preserve like this part of my arm more. Just because like bicep curls and stuff like that, I feel like it's like obviously at my bicep, there's not a lot you can do for like your forearm strength itself besides a grip strengthener. So I try to do a grip strengthener like twice a week and I try to do weighted jump ropes for cardio. But this is honestly something that I've been really slacking in my personal life is actually doing my cardio and my workout routine. Like I feel like I just try to present myself as I am because like I'm just a girl trying her best to do something that's like relatively unprecedented. I like of course there's like teams that have YouTube channels and stuff like that, but just like a singular jiu-jitsu athlete that's just like focusing on their content in order to make money to be a full-time grappler, like to my knowledge, I'm the only person who is presently doing that with a degree of like with a large platform. So I feel like I'm really like trying to just pioneer the way of just being like a full-time athlete funded by their YouTube careers and social media. So I'm still constantly learning, constantly growing, and I'm just trying my best to show up as myself and show up authentic and just like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, some of the ugly I'm just not comfortable like sharing on my channel and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to be as authentically myself as I am comfortable with being. Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, David, for throwing that super chat into the YouTube live. Thank you, David, for that. I'm going to write a little message in there that says thanks. I appreciate that, and it makes me super happy when you guys throw out those super chats. So thoroughly appreciate that. Somebody else said, I hope you have a great, they said, I hope you improve on your mistakes and all of your no-gi matches in 2025. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just get locked in, especially now that I am a purple belt and I'm just trying to like rise to the occasion of the purple belts. Considering that a lot of the tournaments are going to get significantly harder now that I'm a purple belt, but a lot of them, they have already been combining blue-purple tournaments. So I'm functionally going to be in the same division at ADCC and at Jiu-Jitsu World League for the foreseeable future because they do combine the blue-purple belt division, but it's always been predominantly purple belts. So I feel comfortable continuing to compete at this level and challenge myself. One thing that I am a little scared of is some divisions, some competition organizers organize at expert level at purple belt. So purple belts are looped with the purple, brown, and black belts at some competitions. So that is something that I am very scared of getting lumped into, but I am just doing my best to rise to the occasion, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm sure I'll post about it, vlog about it, complain about it, whatever. You guys will see it as it is. Yeah, somebody said this is not a dating site, which is true. Stop asking about my personal life. But I do have a wonderful, wonderful boyfriend that I post about on Instagram all the time. So keep up with my Instagram. Somebody said, I love your personality and energy on TikTok. Thank you so much. I try to bring the energy and the personality over here. It's so hard for me as like, I've always felt like an introvert. So who knows why like YouTube and social media like geared towards a valid job option, but I'm here now and I love what I do. Especially lately with like all the different like avenues of support and all the different people that I'm inspiring in the world and like being able to see you guys, like the fact that like some of you guys come up to me during tournaments is so amazing. I love that like you know, people come up to me and take photos with me. It's just so amazing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And also, if you guys ever see me in person at a jiu-jitsu tournament, just say hi. I will literally, the only time I will not take a photo with somebody is if they're already calling out my name for like a match, or I'm like warming up. But like if you even if you ask right before I have to warm up, I will do it. So please do not be afraid, because sometimes people will message me and it's just like, oh, I didn't feel like you would be nice to me. I will always take a photo with you, and I am so excited to be able to interact with you guys, because I wouldn't be here if not for you guys. So I thoroughly appreciate that. Thank you. It's Playboy over there on TikTok for sending me some gifts. I appreciate that so, so much. Okay, I'm reading more stuff. Somebody said, what do I think about Taekwondo? I don't think about Taekwondo. I'm starting to train next year. Is one a day enough? Yes, training once a day is definitely enough. I think that it just depends on like the quality of the gym that you're training at, and like what you're putting into it. Like it's definitely enough times to train once a day, and training 2 times a day wears your body down so much, but you also get double the experience. Like if I'm training twice a day, I'm probably not rolling twice a day. Like I show up all the time, just like I'm so bad. I'm not saying show up late, but like for me, a lot of the times I just show up and watch technique and then I bounce, especially if I'm training twice a day, because my body hurts. So once a day is more than enough to improve very consistently, and I am incredibly proud of anyone who's able to get in the gym every day. Somebody said they just got their blue belt. What did I focus on the most when I first got my blue belt? When I first got my blue belt, I was focusing the most on leg locks, because I was like, at white belt, you can only straight ankle lock. But at blue belt, like a lot of leg lock opportunities open up. So I was just focusing the most on leg lock defense. When I first got my blue belt, because for some reason I just kept thinking that like people are just gonna knee bar and heel hook and do all sorts of finagling down there, and that actually hasn't been like as big of a issue for me as I previously thought that it would be. This is getting cold, so I'm gonna start eating faster. Somebody said, who do I think is the best female BJJ athlete in the world? Fiona Davies. I think Fiona Davies is certainly one of the best female jiu-jitsu athletes in the world. And I think Adele Fernando, I am such a big fan. She is also one of the best athletes in the world, and so is Alex Enriquez. Those are all three women who are incredibly talented at jiu-jitsu that I look up to a lot. Also, Amanda Bruce. Amanda Bruce is also one of the best jiu-jitsu female BJJ athletes in the world. Somebody said, don't tell me that. I compete too, but blue and purple mix is a big technical difference. I actually would disagree with you there. As soon as I got my blue belt, I was immediately competing against purple belts, because a lot of tournaments combine blue and purple belts to compete against. And I would say, yes, I have far more losses or close matches with other purple belt competitors now. But definitely there are some extremely talented blue belts that will give you problems in the blue belt division. And combining those two divisions, I agree with the combination of that. Because there's plenty of organizations who don't. Like there's plenty of organizations which you can just be a blue belt and sign up in the blue belt division only. So when you do sign up for a mixed division, that gives you the chance to challenge yourself and see where you're at, because you may be pleasantly surprised. Somebody said, this woman's a lot of fun. Those matches are insane. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that a bunch. Lately my notifications have been so blown up with like this video that got recirculated from about a year ago. So it was already being reposted on a bunch of like MMA pages that started like a couple weeks ago. And I was just seeing like a lot of people repost my content. And there was a lot of misconceptions about what happened that were not being addressed in the reposting of my content from other people. So I decided to repost it myself and address some of those things in the comment sections. Of course, some people are really mad at me for not moderating my comment sections. There are over 20,000 comments. I physically cannot moderate at all. I'm just a girl with an iPhone. I am not a big production or anything like that. I do not have the bandwidth to moderate those comments, but I was responding to some of the ones that were spreading misconceptions about like biological men and biological male individuals in female sports. It is definitely a tongue twister in that division, and it has been a lot of controversy within the last couple weeks. But I do believe that women's sports should be reserved for individuals who were born women, who are born biological females, and still presently identify as such. And that is something that I feel very strongly about. I'm gonna keep eating some more bites because it's starting to get cold. See, like the cheese isn't melty anymore. Somebody said you can't pin me, but you're tough. Whatever. Like, I don't know what you guys expect when you guys tell me that I can't win a match against you or that I can't pin you. It's like, okay, like maybe I can't, maybe I can. I'm simply not going to find out though, because, you know, I compete against women. So I don't know what a man would get out of that. Thank you. It is my own little creation. It is Sazon Goya potatoes chopped really small, and it's an avocado and beans and bacon and sour cream and avocado covered in cheese and ranch dressing. So I was tripping because I am typically cutting weight, but for now, during the holidays, for the next like week, it's basically my mission to get as fat as possible. So this is what I'm up to until I have to cut weight for ADCC San Diego. I might even go up a division at this point. I don't know. But I'm typically like 137 in the mornings and then like 140 at night. And I just cut 5 pounds and go to the 133 and under division at ADCC, the 60 kg. So it's typically pretty easy to just cut 5 pounds and just like eat some salad rather than cheesy potatoes for a couple weeks. And yeah. So people are trying to get me canceled for my stance on like women's sports and stuff. I've gotten so much hate in my comment sections, DMs, everything, all that. It's insane. I respect every single person as a human being, and I think every single human being should be safe and happy walking down the street and able to have like a wonderful life for themselves. But I do not think that that extends to combat sports. So I do not want to compete against anyone who was not born biologically female without advance notice. Not to say that I would never take a match against somebody who is trans. I just wish that I had that choice in advance and that this person was not being disingenuous in their informing of the tournament and other competitors, because they also failed to do so, even though it was NAGA policy to inform they should have informed Naga, and Naga would have then informed the other competitors and given us the choice, because that was the policy. That match should have never happened as it happened, because we were supposed to be given that choice, and no one was notified, and so it just became like a big mess. But you know, it is what it is, and I'm incredibly thankful to Naga for handling it so well. Like, that's still my favorite organization to compete under because they changed the rules even more swift. Like I already agreed with their rule set prior to that match, and then they changed it even more so to make it so that if anyone informs them or if there's any suspicion of somebody being a trans athlete, then they are redirected to a different division outside of the women's division. So I also strongly agree with that choice, and I'm incredibly happy about that. Somebody also said, how long did it take for me to get my purple belt after earning my blue belt? Congratulations, I'm a blue belt. I went from a blue belt to purple belt within about 7 months, but during the 7-month period, I was typically training minimum once a day, and for a lot of sessions, I was training twice a day. I try to hit at around 9 total sessions per week, which sometimes that just includes going to wrestling class before going to jiu-jitsu class. I consider that a 2-a-day, even though it's just like a longer block of training, or going to like women's class, then jiu-jitsu, and then wrestling afterwards, or like whatever variation of that. So some of these are just like longer class sessions or whatever, but I mix that up. And my goal each week is to hit 9 sessions total. I don't always get there, but even if I do 7, even if I do 7, that incredibly impacts like my learning, and I'm just 1% better every day. Somebody said, someone I should have me on a podcast so I can address and clear any misconceptions / false allegations. Yeah, I definitely would be open to going on a podcast for that entire subject. Not a lot of similarly sized platforms have hit me up, but if somebody with a podcast that is comparable to my platform wants to have me on and talk about that, I am definitely open to that. So my email is in my bio. Somebody said, people are great. The agenda and pressure is sick, wicked, and disgusting. Oh, I'm sorry for even saying that. Sorry, no, sorry. Yeah, I don't like to use like harsh words like that. I just believe that women's sports should be against biological women and biological women unless there is some type of advance notice. Because like if somebody offered me like some type of exhibition match and I knew that that person was like a trans athlete, like in advance, that's a completely different thing. If I know in advance, no problem. I respect you and your identity. And if we both consented to it, yes. But if I do not know in advance, I feel like that's taking away some of my choices, and especially the choices of other female athletes, especially given the fact that at that tournament that there was a hijabbed woman who also competed who does not typically grapple men. That was also a huge issue in that regard, that this person does not grapple um, certain types of individual, and that choice was also taken away from her. So it's like a super multi-layered issue that I feel like it's important that we talk about it. Somebody also said, am I going to have any no-gi matches in 2025? Yes, I am going to be at the ADCC San Diego Open. Another person said, have I ever competed at AGF? Yes, I've competed at AGF only like once as a white belt. There was only one other girl in my division, so I just haven't signed up for another one because I just haven't seen a lot of women competitors signed up. But maybe that's since changed because that was also years ago, so maybe they've like expanded. Somebody said, have I competed at Abu Dhabi? I mean, I've done the opens, but I have not gotten an ADCC invite. Somebody said, if I knew in advance, would that have changed the outcome of the match? Would have prepared me better? I'm glad that I didn't know, because I think that I would have gotten in my own head for that match in particular, because that was also my first match at Blue Belt. And that was my first match in the Blue Belt division. I didn't even have my Blue Belt at that time, but I was competing in the Blue Belt Absolute division, and that was incredibly nerve-wracking. So I'm glad that I did not know in that case for the specific outcome of that match, just in like if it would have prepared me better or not. Like I feel like I probably would have done worse if I knew, but I still wish that I had that choice to have done that match or not based on the circumstances that occurred. So Oh, hello. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody was just giving me a compliment on my grappling, and I appreciate that. Somebody said, "How do I not have cauliflower ear?" No, I have regular little ears. They are a little bit thicker than they were previously before I started grappling, but I feel like they were just really thin before, and they're kind of like almost like normal thickness now, which I feel like has given me like almost like an advantage to not giving cauliflower ear because it's just gotten thicker. I feel like it just doesn't like puff up. Like there's already like it's already kind of hard. So I see some good questions in the chat. So let me eat some more potatoes and then I'll be back at you guys. That was a big bite. Somebody said it was really messed up to not inform people in advance. I agree, but at the time, the rule set that Naga had was that they required the trans competitor to disclose being trans, and then Naga, after they're informed, would then inform other competitors, and then the other female competitors would have the choice to go against the trans athlete or not. However, this person did not disclose being trans to Naga, therefore they did not know either. So that's where the disconnect comes from. It was always against the Naga rule set. However, that person was very disingenuous in the fact that they did not disclose their status, which I think is the crux of the argument here. What toppings do I have on these taters? There's a bunch of avocado. I love avocado, and there's beans, and there's bacon, and there's cream cheese, and there's ranch, and then green onions. Somebody said on my channel they've never seen somebody come close to defeating me. I've been defeated many times, but I always get people more than I get got. Like, you know, like if I were to add up all my matches, like wins or losses, I probably have like, I don't know, like 30 to 40 wins and then like a little bit more than a dozen losses. And like, it just is what it is. Like, I just love the game and, you know, it just is what it is. But I'm definitely not undefeated. However, I will not be posting any losing footage for reasons that I addressed earlier. My channel is my channel. I post what makes me happy, and winning makes me happy. Sharing my journey makes me happy. And I talk about those losses, but I'm simply not going to post them just because this is my channel. How long have I been doing a BJJ? And when is a good time to start for young women? The best time to start jiu-jitsu is always yesterday, but the next best time is today. So I think that the best age to start is as young as you can possibly start, but I started at 21, and in just 3 years, I've been able to become a purple belt and compete at some really cool events. And I've got invited to a lot of very like big and professional tournaments, so it's only up from here. I gotta pay attention to TikTok, people, because I'm seeing the questions fire off over here. Somebody said, have I won with anything other than guillotine? I have just as many RNC finishes as I do guillotine finishes. So this is always such a strange question when I see it, because I'm also incredibly skilled at taking the back, and I have a couple armbar finishes and stuff like that. So I've posted all those on my channel. So if you just scroll through, you're easily able to see that there's almost just as many RNC finishes as there are guillotine finishes, because I love to take the back as well. Somebody said, do I like anime? I love anime. I actually was in the anime club while I was in high school, in the Fanatics Club and Needle Crafters Club. But Needle Crafters Club, all we did was sit there and watch anime. So it was basically like Anime Club Part 2. So I stopped showing up to Anime Club because, you know, like Needle Crafters Club already had anime playing. So have I ever thought about the UFC or MMA? If there was like a UFC Fight Pass grappling match, I would love that. But I do not think that grappling is just a stepping stone for MMA. I think that grappling is its own end destination, and that's where I'm at. And those are the heights that I want to reach. And any time that I spend striking is time taken away from grappling. So I'm currently not interested in that. However, if I got offered a MMA fight with a big prize purse, I will go figure it out. So invite me anyway, because I just need to see those contracts and that number, because we could figure some things out. Somebody else said, I hope you have fun in all of your no-gi matches. That's what it's all about, to have fun and improve on your mistakes. Thank you. I'm having fun every single day that I train. I truly love what I do. I love competing, and I love taking things to the next level. And I'm incredibly excited to see what the next year holds. Okay, let's see what TikTok people say. Have I tried wrestling? Yes, I wrestled at UCLA. I was in the UCLA wrestling club for 2 quarters. So that's like 5 months of wrestling. But I was just going because, so Jiu-Jitsu club and started from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and then wrestling was from 9 p.m. until 10:30. So it was really easy to just stay after Jiu-Jitsu class. But I did not like wrestle in college. I did not do like in NCAA type situations, just because I was really focused on Jiu-Jitsu at the time and I just wanted to compete in Jiu-Jitsu. So I did not like do any collegiate like matches, but I was still on the team. And on my UCLA stuff, on the Ideologic Club sports form, it says wrestling club member. So former wrestling club member, but also like UCLA is club. It is not D1 for wrestling. Somebody said, what is my nationality? I am ethnically biracial, but I do not know what ethnicity my biological mom is, because I have never met my biological mom. But my biological dad is half black and half white, and my ancestry DNA report says that I am like 60% black. So I'm just assuming that my biological mom is also half white and half black. But I was raised in an exclusively black environment, in an exclusively black household, during my like ward of the court foster care experiences. So I am really only like familiar with like my black culture and that experience. So I feel very culturally black, but I acknowledge that ethnically I am biracial. Do I have hands though? No. I just answered your other question. I answered your nationality question. Hello from Ireland. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody also said, dig all the videos. Love the work ethic. I appreciate that. The TikTok people. How does a pin happen in Jiu-Jitsu? The only Jiu-Jitsu I know is from watching the UFC. So you do not get any like, okay, you get points for a pin, because typically if you're doing a pin, you're already in side control or mount or knee on belly in some type of control position. So you get points for a pin, but that does not end the match, because you need a submission. However, if you manage to pin that person, say you pin them with both shoulders on the ground and you're on top of them, that is mount, and that is 4 points. So a pin can win a match, because if you mount somebody and then they escape and you guys re-engage and they never score again, you now have 4 points and it's now 4-0. So therefore you've won the match. But a pin itself does not end the match like a submission does. So and a submission happens by like a joint lock, a choke, or any of like the combinations of that. I don't know what that means. Somebody said, just because I am talking about it, who is my father's father? My father is a biracial man, and my father's father is a black man. Somebody said, is she on Twitch right now? I am on YouTube Live. Yes, somebody said if I wanted to fight somebody of that like thing, then yes, I would. Joe Rogan podcast. I really want to be on the Joe Rogan podcast. If anyone knows Joe Rogan and it's just like, yo, look at this match. Even if he just wanted to have me on for like 5 minutes on like a Zoom interview, I would love that. Thank you, thank you. I am eating more potato and avocado. Good food makes me want to dance. To all of you guys who are watching this currently or watching this back, I am so appreciative of you guys tuning into my stuff and watching my content. I would literally be nothing if not for my platform. Not like as a human being, but as a content creator, because you need, like, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's in the forest, do they hear it? I don't know. But that's how I feel as a content creator. So I'm so happy that you guys are in the forest and hearing me shout into the void. Okay. Somebody said they only tune in to watch me eat. Yeah, some people say it's disgusting to watch me eat, and then other people say that's their favorite part is like watching me consume things. I'm like, some people are like, stop making food content. Other people are like, please, food content. So not sure what the consensus is, but I sure like eating on camera, and it also gives me pauses to think, and it also saves me time because I'm able to eat on camera instead of eating off camera and then trying to get on camera. So it is what it is. I appreciate the support nonetheless. I put way too much ranch on this. What do you have against the plastic fork? Somebody in the chat